So welcome, we're officially recording. We were just chatting about the hot chocolate and the replacement hot chocolate that Gary sent out to the initial orders. And several people has gotten those, said they don't taste any different. Some said they do taste a difference. But all in, there was some product that out in the Arizona sun seems to change the flavor a little bit. So Gary and Barbara, at their own expense, sent out everyone that ordered the initial batches, brand new bags of it, and it seems to be a huge success. So
yeah, we sent out 19 free bags.
yeah. So yeah, I saw several people say it tastes just the same. Thank you for the free bag of hot chocolate.
Yeah, exactly. Merry Christmas.
Yeah. So how are you doing tonight, Gary? I know we had snow last night. The temperature high today was 35 degrees. It's been cold.
Yeah, we got real cold. We got down to 60.
Mm.
I had to put on a sweatshirt.
Mm.
I'm not. It's funny. I lived for 40 years. I lived in snow and ice, and my car going sideways, and fishtailing in the snow, and scraping my windshield every morning. So my empathy's with everybody.
I hear you. So let's jump into this meeting. We got two big things we want to cover tonight. One, we're going to start off continuing talking about ingredients and health choices from last week. We started talking about our top 10 list. We want to dig through the top 10 ingredients, educate you guys on each one of them. All of this, what we're going to cover is on the website. And we're not going to spend too long there because we gave you a preview last week of what these new products are that we're going to launch, the MSM products. Since then, we've actually defined four of those products we're going to have on the website and launched by this time next week, if not a little bit sooner. So we're going to go through our top 10 list. We're going to go through these four products. I believe we'll be able to give you pricing, show you some pictures, get you excited about it, but then we'll turn and burn on getting those on the site and getting them sold. So we'll start with the top 10, Gary.
Absolutely.
Let's see, I'll pull it up here. Okay, so this, by the way, is on your website. So if you want to follow along or access this at any time, you can go to the health tab at the top. I think there's even a link. Well, that's a long page. This one is to go through. There's a health top 10 link at the bottom, but you can come on here and read this. I'll quickly read this list off and then we'll go through each one of them in order from worst to not as worse, or most deadly to least deadly. Refined sugar, high fructose corn syrup, sodium nitrate, BHT preservative, salt, sodium, artificial sweeteners, processed foods, bleached flour, enriched products, and modified cooking oils. I know last week, Gary, we talked mostly about this top 5, but if you'd like, let's just start with this first one here, refined sugar.
Okay, first of all, when you hear about the diet, the paleo diet, all the paleo diet means is that what would a caveman or what would someone naturally eat that is a natural product? And so obviously anything with refined sugar is anti-paleo because man makes it. And it's a sugar that's the biggest catalyst for so many medical problems: heart disease, obesity, high blood pressure. It makes you hypertensive. Obviously, one of the visuals that I like giving is if sugar can rip the teeth out of your face and decay every one of your teeth, why do you think when it gets past your Adam's apple or in your esophagus that everything's fine? It isn't. Okay, it's a drug. It's addictive. I know I have people that I work with counseling that have been on liters a day of soda, liters a day, whether Mountain Dew or Pepsi or Coke or Dr. Pepper or whatever, and people that are actually feeding their children cereal that has like 35 grams of sugar per bowl, which is it's like feeding your child a candy bar for breakfast. Okay, you can't do that. You know, you go to the natural cereals that don't have the refined sugar in them to the extent of the, you know, to most of the cereals in the cereal aisle are like a dessert from hell.
Mhm.
Okay, and whether it's Count Chocula or Lucky Charms, or if you look at what's in there, it's you're not getting nutrients, you're getting a ton of sugar.
Well,
Now,
and it's not just sugar. These are cheap sugars. I mean, sugar,
no,
the
no,
very
no, no,
best sugar, like cane sugar, would be
no,
like the
you're
very
right.
best possible scenario. These are all they're man-made sugars.
Yeah, no, well, that's what I'm saying. In other words, anti-paleo means that man makes all these processed sugars, and they're all catalysts for cancer and depression, and they
Migraine headaches.
yeah, and here's the thing that's interesting with this COVID virus. I know that I wish Troy was on, but his daughter got the COVID about 10 days ago, and he called me and he said, you know, what should I do? So he's taking the vitamin C and the Indian gooseberry and the zinc, and he's, you know, he never got it, thank God, and so he's strengthening his antibodies and immune system. But I also said to him, whenever you want to strengthen your immune system, there's things you don't do because it breaks down your antibodies, and the things that break down your antibodies during a horrible situation where you're making yourself vulnerable for whatever's out there, even if it's just a normal virus for pneumonia, is you want to stay away from refined sugar, alcohol, and caffeine, because those three make you susceptible to whatever's out there, that you're going to get it quicker.
Mhm.
So by eliminating those three and getting strong antioxidants and colorful fruits, colorful vegetables, I even, before I made the capsule that I made with the Indian gooseberry, which is phenomenal, I used to just have people go to a drugstore and get Ester C. And Ester C is a time-released vitamin C that I told them to get 1,000 milligrams of Ester C and take one with water every 4 hours. And because the good news about vitamin C is it doesn't store in your body, and so you can take it constantly and keep your body full of vitamin C. And the worst that can happen is you end up peeing a lot of it into the toilet. But so you want to stay away from sugar, alcohol, and caffeine, but you want to definitely get a lot of vitamin A, C, and E, which is what the three vitamins are that make up antioxidants. But anyway, getting back to this, refined sugar is a drug just like heroin. People are so addicted. When I get people off of sodas, especially people that are drinking liters per day, they start shaking and go through all kinds of withdrawal, just like if they were on heroin or another drug. But it's something you got to go through so that you can get it out of your system. So that's refined sugar. Two, and Micah, you're great, because after I taught you about these 10, tell them about how many products have high fructose corn syrup in it that people are buying in the supermarket.
Everything. Literally everything that's cheaply made. If you almost look at anything they sell for $1, it's got high fructose corn syrup in it. Bread, muffins, I mean, everything. You look at it, if you start reading these ingredients on all these little juice packets, I mean, it's anything, popsicles, anything that's cheaply made. Just take your brain out of food for a moment. Just think business. A business survives by making money, right? You make money two ways. You sell more product or you cost less. And most entrepreneurs venture into business that way. And especially in a market like food, where most people do not know ingredients, it's very easy to use cheap ingredients. So inevitably in competition, that's what happens is, man, my popsicles, to make them healthy, cost $3 a popsicle. but I could get my cost down to $2 if I buy these ingredients. I can get my cost down to a nickel if I buy these ingredients. And inevitably, it steers them towards legal, FDA approved ingredients such as nitrates and BHT preservatives and high fructose corn syrup and all these convection sugars. It costs money to use cane sugar. It costs money to use fruit sugars. It's much more expensive. Why would you do that if you're a business and you don't have to? You just put the cheap stuff in there and put a nice, big, pretty fancy label on it. So yeah, if you start looking, you'll notice that high fructose corn syrup, the worst, the absolute worst of all sweeteners, is in most everything. And if it's not high fructose corn syrup, it's just fructose or corn syrup. Just because
Correct.
it doesn't say high in front of it, oh, it's not as bad. It's just as bad. It's just, there's a percentage scale, and I forget where it is. I think high fructose is like 80 or 90% or something in fructose, and there's like a scalable,
Well,
don't
it's usually
ignore
like
what
a,
fructose
yeah,
is.
it's usually, obviously by law, on when you're reading ingredients, the law is you have to put the most of the ingredient that's in the product to the least. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, high fructose corn syrup is usually number one.
It is. When even if it's down low, the fact that it's in there,
Yeah, it's garbage.
Gary mentioned the right word. Sugar and all these sweeteners it's a drug. It's a legalized drug. Even though it is sweet, it's has chemical addictive properties that's measurable on MRI scans. MRI scans show similar withdrawal symptoms. Withdrawing from sugar is withdrawing from heroin and other drugs. It's just as hard to quit as what it is that. So with that in mind, if you're on a diet or you're trying to control your appetite or you have these weird cravings that you can't, oh, I'm so hungry, and if you start looking at the ingredients of what you're eating, you're probably going to find that you're consuming these addictive chemicals. Don't think of it as sugar. Take sugar out of your mind. Think addictive chemicals. You're consuming man-made, laboratory baked up chemicals that are addictive. And they use them because it keeps people coming back. They get these cravings in their body for more, and it's more of whatever they consume last. If your thing is eating a pint of ice cream when you're depressed, you're going to keep going back to that same thing of ice cream. Or if it's eating candy bars or it's consuming whatever it is, people keep going back to that because of these cravings in their body that makes you think you're hungry, but you're really not. You're really not.
When I was young, the biggest one for me, because I obviously hadn't gone to school and got my degrees yet, I was hooked on ketchup.
Oh, Heinz ketchup.
I put ketchup on.
Ketchup.
I put ketchup on everything when I was a kid because it was addictive. And sure enough, probably the first ingredient of a ketchup is high fructose corn. I haven't
I
had
think it's
ketchup
water. Yeah, water, high fructose corn syrup, and then tomato concentrate, which isn't even real tomatoes.
No, exactly. So I haven't had ketchup in probably 20 years, but when I was younger, it got me hooked. Anyway, number 3 is a real important one that most people aren't aware of what it's in, what it does, and how horrible it is for you. And it's right up there with sugar and high fructose corn syrup, and I'll tell you why. It's probably one of the biggest catalysts for internal cancer in the body. Okay, and what sodium nitrate is a preservative that is in almost every single deli meat. It's in Subway, all their meats, which is amazing. You'd think that with how many places they're making sandwiches for people, they wouldn't want to make cancerous sandwiches. But like you said, Micah, they're into making profit. But sodium nitrate is a preservative that makes the meats stay pink without turning brown for as long as possible. So the shelf life with sodium nitrate in it makes the product stay a lot longer on the shelf, but it can give you cancer. So for example, sodium nitrate's in all your sausages, it's in all your bacon, it's in all your lunch meats, from bologna to all your Italian meats like prosciutto, bruschetta, capicola. It's in salami, it's in your your hand. It's, you know, it's funny, they have kosher meats, but even the rabbis turn their head when it comes to blessing the kosher meat with sodium nitrate in it. So I don't trust the rabbis either, okay? Because what are they blessing? They're blessing that, you know, you separate meat and dairy, but you're still getting cancer from eating preservatives of these meats. So to me, now here's the alternatives that I can tell you. If you go to a Whole Foods or a Sprouts, if you have those in your, you know, your state or your community, I'm fortunate that I have both of those here in Scottsdale, Arizona, and I do buy sausages, but they make them daily, and they sell a ton of them because they're so good, but they make them daily with no sodium nitrate, which means there's no preservatives in them. So you make them, you buy them, and you eat them, and they're healthy and they're great. And I get what they call a sweet chicken sausage that's dynamite with no sodium nitrate. And it's kind of like the European philosophy, and I'll explain what that means. You know, the reason why the Europeans are so much healthier than we are is because they don't have 800 refrigerators and 5 freezers and 2 freezers in their garage, and they don't go out and buy like 9,000 meats and freeze them and put them in their. What they do is they have a little dinky refrigerator in their house, if they have a refrigerator at all, and they go out daily. It's like a daily routine. They just buy the food they're going to eat for the day. Okay. They don't sit there and stock up for the winter like we do, where we've got 9,000 meals ready at any time. They go out, and I know with the COVID, has to be a whole different strategy. So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying to subject yourself and go out a zillion times because of this COVID. I'm just trying to explain to you before the COVID why the Europeans are healthier than we are, because they go and buy whatever they're going to eat for the day. And there's no preservatives in anything they're buying, and everything's perishable. But it's okay if the food you buy are perishable if you're eating it the same day. Yeah. But unfortunately, the American way is let's buy stuff and keep it and freeze it and have it for, I don't know. I know people that have had things in their freezer, like different things, like different meats and whatever, for 8 months, 9 months. And here's the thing too, once you freeze a product, it takes away like 60% of the flavor of the actual product. There's nothing better than fresh vegetables versus frozen vegetables. There's nothing better than fresh poultry as opposed to frozen poultry. Like the turkey that I had for Thanksgiving was an organic turkey, free-range turkey that was never frozen. And it was dynamite, okay? So I knew it didn't have any preservatives in it because they didn't freeze it. And they know it's going to get sold right away. And it's a free-range turkey as opposed to a cubicle turkey, and it's healthy. But, you know, even things like roast beef, ham, any of those meats, if they have sodium nitrate in them, they're cancerous and they're horrendous for you. But there is a company, and I'm sure everybody's aware of this company, that I endorse every week, and it's Boar's Head Meats. Boar's Head Meats, all their meats are nitrate free. So if you do your research and you look into your supermarkets that are in your area, find out who carries Boar's Head, because then you can buy all the meats that you want, and they have no artificial ingredients in them. They're fine.
Wow.
And along the same segue in line as what sodium nitrate is to lunch meats and to different meats, BH preservative is to vegetables. So here's the same deal going on with frozen vegetables. When you buy frozen vegetables, what you should be doing is looking at the ingredient, and the only ingredient, I'm going to say it again, the only ingredient that should be on the frozen vegetable is the vegetable itself. So if you buy frozen spinach, guess what? Look at the ingredient. It should say spinach. That's it. Now, you're going to see two things that are used as preservatives that are not good for you if you're buying the frozen vegetable. If you see sodium and then the vegetable, the sodium acts as a preservative, but it's a ton of sodium, and you should only have so many milligrams of sodium per day in your body so you don't get high blood pressure. It doesn't cause heart disease. It doesn't retain water so that you can keep your body lean and burn fat every week. So here again, and then BHT preservative is even worse than the sodium, where you'll see a frozen vegetable where it'll say BH preservative and then the vegetable. It's the same game as the sodium nitrate. It keeps the vegetables from turning brown. They can stay in a frozen frozen department of a supermarket for months and still sell it if it's got BHT preservative in it. But guess what? The supermarket only cares about shelf life. They don't care about your life. So what happens is you're going to end up, it's a possible catalyst for toxic effects on lung tissue and cancer, and it's a carcinogen. Okay, so these are things that are really important to understand, that you can get all these foods and consume them on a daily basis and stay cancer-free and put 10, 20 years on your life just by making healthy choices.
Yeah, you were talking about BHT. I want to roll back BHT back into high fructose corn syrup and challenge you guys to start looking in your fridge. While Gary was talking, I pulled up this Heinz ketchup ingredient list, and you can read right here: tomato concentrate, which everyone knows concentrate isn't the same as getting real tomatoes, right? That would be a puree or real tomatoes. So you get a concentrate, distilled vinegar, high fructose corn syrup, which is the same thing as high fructose, just slightly less. I forget the word they used, the concentration of that. Salt.
It's the concentration of how much refined sugar's in it. That's what it is.
Okay. Yep. Exactly. So you're going to find that between high fructose corn syrup and BHT is an enhanced ketchup. But when you start going to a restaurant and you look at all the ketchup bottles, mustard, mayonnaise, the ketchup packets, the little condiments you tear open, almost all of that, every last one of them, there's a reason they give them away for free, because it doesn't cost them hardly anything. So you got to wonder, how do they buy these and give these things away for free when you're eating 99-cent menus on top of that? It's because they pay pennies for them, because most all of them are made from completely synthetic ingredients. Most of them are BHT and high fructose corn syrup and
Correct.
salt. So BHT is, I've seen it in everything from women's deodorant, which is BHT, I think last I counted, was banned in 38 different countries. High fructose corn syrup, sodium nitrate is banned in a dozen or so, including Canada. Our own neighbor has banned those completely. The FDA allows them here, and it's very, very common in most of our food supply. You will be hard pressed to go to the grocery store and go through the salad dressings and not find a salad dressing that doesn't either have BHT, some sort of really bad sodium, or high fructose corn syrups, or some sort of syrup or corn syrups in them, these cheap sweeteners, cheap ingredients, unless you're buying organic. Anytime you buy organic, you naturally get rid of all of that stuff.
Well, what's surprising to me, we say we have a Food and Drug Administration, and yet with special interest groups, they get money on the side to allow this crap to come in and feed our people.
Yeah.
Which just, it's so corrupt that, I mean, look at the government in a lot of these countries where they're telling people straight from the hip, we're banning these because we care about you, we protect you, we protect our communities, we protect our cities, we protect all the people in our country. And what do we have? We got a Food and Drug Administration that doesn't ban it, because they get money from special interests. What does that tell you about our system? Our system, it's not good. That's why it's so important that we start educating our children and our communities on, because let me tell you the best way to get rid of these corrupt companies that make these crappy products. Nobody buys them, okay? And they go out of business. It's the only way it's going to work. Unfortunately, the theme of this country without education is if you're dumb enough to buy it, we're going to sell it to you because we make a lot of money. So what we have to do, and what I've been devoting my whole life to, is let's get everybody educated so they don't buy the foods. Look, they went through a class action multi-zillion-dollar lawsuit for cigarettes. Why? Because they lied to the public for years about the fact that these cigarettes caused cancer. Okay, I'm hoping that we can develop class action lawsuits about high fructose corn syrup or BHT preservative or sodium nitrate. It's no different than smoking a cigarette. It's still, you're feeding your body with cancer, and the country's allowing it. It shouldn't be allowed. Just like, and I was very happy. I don't know if they can. Somebody bought the company back and are making it again. But one of the happy days of my life was when Hostess Twinkies and cupcakes and all that went out of business. Because people are becoming aware that they're horrible for children. But somebody bought the company and is making them again. Anyway, the bottom line is everything is supply and demand, and we want to develop really educational consumers to be able to strengthen their families' life and how long they're going to live. I know that in Europe, believe it or not, someone born in Europe today, 50% of the people are going to average living to 104. Isn't that amazing? 50% of people that are born in Europe are going to average living to 104 years old. I don't know if I want to live to 104, but I can tell you it's better than the Americans that are taking 8 prescriptions and have 9,000 side effects because they're eating a lot of these foods that we're talking about tonight.
I want to highlight this here, Gary. BHT, and you guys can look this up and find this on your own. It's a known catalyst for cancer, suspected to have toxic effects on lung tissue. While not listed as a true carcinogen, it has caused cancer in lab animals linked to kidney disease and neurological disorders, okay? Now think about this, and I can't draw a line here. You draw your own conclusion. I mentioned deodorant. I pulled up here on Google, women's deodorant with BHT. Right? If you look at this label, BHT and BHA, very similar ingredients, both banned in like 38 or 40 other countries. One of the ingredients is hard to see on here, BHT, right there. You go down here on this one here, if you can see down on the very bottom line there, it's got BHT in it. Same thing here, BHT. Your perspiratory glands here are some of the largest glands in your entire body, right? And you absorb through your skin. Your skin's the largest organ in your body. Tell me that breast cancer amongst women isn't likely linked to BHT and these synthetic chemicals. Even men, different issues we have of continuing to put these chemicals in our armpits, these being absorbed into our body. I mean, these are ingredients that are banned. They're known carcinogenics, and they're openly used in skincare products and food preservatives. And I think even meat, you mentioned pepperoni and these sausages, in addition to nitrates, BHA is a preservative that's very common in pepperoni. Exactly. I love pepperoni, but I can't find pepperoni anywhere by any of the major people that doesn't either have nitrates or BHA in it. They're
not, first of all, it's the largest selling pizza in the United States, and they keep it under wrap, just so you know. It's so crazy. And so the fact, look, we had talked about this a little bit, I think, last week, but I'm going to give the analogy again. When you buy a car, it says on the dashboard, unleaded gas only, or leaded gas only, or whatever. And you know whether to put in regular or premium or whatever. And religiously, you put in the right gas because you want the engine to run smoothly, and you do it without even thinking about it. You got to the point now, you go into a gas station, you pop the same thing, you put it in and you leave. It's a no-brainer. That's what we got to get to. The human body is way more precious than your car. So we've got to be able to get people to the point where they evolve and transition to at least taking care of their body the same as their car, where if it says BHT preservative, that would be like you putting the wrong gas in your car. You're never going to do it. Why would you do it? You're never going to do it. So we have to change our mindset to taking care of our internal organs. That's why you're looking at lungs and, you know, when it says neurological disorders, what it's really saying is that anything going in your body that's foreign, that shouldn't be there, can mess up the whole system of your body, just like a car.
Yep.
Just like a car. You know, unfortunately, when your engine light goes off on your car, you take it in, you get a Napa part, you get it fixed, and you go home. It doesn't work like that with your body, unfortunately. Okay, so to me, it's real important that we teach people how to stay healthy and happy and safe 7 days a week. That's the most important.
Yeah, if you're here, you're listening to this, and you have health issues, depression, migraines, you can't control your appetite, any number of these things, that's not normal and most likely related to either recent or a lifelong eating of these type of ingredients. And it's hard to quit. It's first you have to educate yourself on them. Most likely, all of us have been fed this since we were kids. Our parents didn't know any better. They were feeding us ice cream and milk and all this stuff, and it's only gotten worse since then. And appetite control and self-control in many cases is very hard to do when you're consuming legal drugs. I mean,
I'm going to add one too that is an amazing myth, and it made me really get a bad taste in my mouth, even though it's a phenomenal college or university. But yet I couldn't believe that they sold their soul for millions of dollars. Harvard University came out with, years and years and years ago, this is before probably anybody on this call is born. Unfortunately, I was. And what everyone learned as the food pyramid. Everybody saw the food pyramid where you had meat and dairy and all this stuff. And guess what? It's a phony pyramid. Okay. Harvard University got funding and millions of dollars from the meat and dairy associations to create this pyramid to move product. Mm-hmm. And so that's sad when a university that really has brilliant professors, believe me, you know, I went to Boston University, but I was always kind of envious and jealous of my Harvard friends because Harvard, it's a phenomenal school. But when I learned about what they did with the food pyramid, that really upset me greatly, that they would accept millions of dollars for a phony pyramid of what we should be consuming. Okay, when you get to a certain age, lactase that's in dairy products is the hardest thing to digest. Mm-hmm. That's why people that are lactose intolerant can't even digest a lot of dairy products, because it's just as hard to digest lactase that are in dairy products as it is to digest a steak. Okay, and a steak, when you get old like me, when you eat a steak, you feel like you ate a bowling ball and you're up all night, because it's not something that you should be consuming at all. And I always say you are what you eat. And to me, I tell people in the book that I wrote, which I wish everybody would take for free and read, that if you are what you eat, how many people out here want to be a cow or a pig? Okay, so if you're eating an animal that's dormant, sluggish, tired, lazy, and then you cut it open and then you eat it, now you're dormant, tired, lazy. okay, with a ton of cholesterol fat because the animal never even moved. I
Well,
mean,
you're eating their proteins.
I think, yeah,
These
exactly. And
proteins are not the best for you.
no, the only exercise a cow gets is when a college guy tips it at night when they're drunk, but that's about it.
And
So
dairy products is a source of mucus. Most mucus in your body.
exactly.
Mucus
So
is why you get sick.
yeah, but so I tell people if you're going to eat fish, what do fish do all day? They swim 24 hours a day. I want protein from an animal that swims 24 hours a day. I know that the amount of omega oil in the fat is healthy fat and it's healthy protein. And so that's why I eat majority of seafood. And why do you think the Asians, with eating all the sushi and all the fish, they stay lean and they, I mean,
They don't
we
eat cows over there.
what's that?
They don't eat cows. Cows,
No.
American cows, you need to stay away from anything from a cow. The meat, the milk, all of it. If it's grass fed, that might be your best case scenario.
Well, it's better. It's better. It's better. I mean, but the
Maybe,
bottom,
but if not, they're just GMO cows. They're just eating
Yeah.
corn, GMO corn, and
yeah, but if you don't want to be lazy and you don't want to be sluggish, then don't eat a lazy, sluggish animal because you are what you eat.
yep, you're right.
And so I used to have a running visual I used to give people when I did all my nutritional counseling. Someone would say when we're talking, is it okay to have beef? And here was my answer every time because it got a good laugh. I would say that the next time you see a cow galloping into the sunset sweating, that's when you can eat beef.
You're exactly right.
Anyway, all right, so why don't we go over sodium? Basically,
Well, I was going to suggest, Gary, why don't we do this? Let's cover number 5 and let's switch over
that's
to
it.
products, and we'll save 6 to 10 for next week.
You got it.
They're asking how to get your book.
Oh, people are asking how to get my book, Micah. Could you please send everybody a digital copy of my book?
It's been in the last 2 emails. It's also in the back office. If you log into your back office and download, it's right there on the homepage.
It's for free. It's for free. And I want everybody to read it because I spent 50 years developing this book from just all the things that I do. And I'd love everybody to read it. I'm giving it away for free because I really believe it'll help people, help your families, and it helps people get motivated. It's a motivator. Okay, so please read my book.
I'm
And-
wrong. It wasn't in the back office.
Oh, shame on
It has
you.
been in the email, though. It has
Huh?
been in the emails. So
Well,
I will add it here as well.
yeah, edit, make it so that it's idiot proof for somebody like even me to get it, okay?
Yes, sounds good.
But anyway, I want everybody to have my book for free. And I would love, I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to give out a couple free products to the person that reads my book and gives me the best synopsis of what they get out of my book. So whoever reads my book and can write up a few sentences of what you think was the most important thing you read, if whoever has the best answer, I'm sending you a free product. So that's what we're doing.
Sounds good. Well, hey, Gary, why don't you fire up some sodium and salt?
Let me just give one visual about salt or two, and then I want you to go into our new products, okay? The people ask me about sodium, and here's what I say. You know, I lived in all the cold cities. I lived in New York. I lived in Detroit. I lived in Boston. I lived in Chicago. So I did health clubs in all those cities, and I froze my ass off every single week. And what do they do on the streets when it starts getting icy and snowy and slippery? And they start throwing down tons of salt, man, all over the roads. What happens to the cars with the salt? It rips your bumpers. It rusts the bottom of your chassis. It rips the paint off your car. It destroys your car. Okay, now, let's go to the lovely people that live where I'm the most jealous because I'm here in the desert with cactus. But let's go to all the people that I'm envious of that live on the ocean. Okay. what happens to their houses that are right oceanfront property? The salt air makes it so they have to change the paint and the outside of their house every couple of years because the salt rips it apart. Okay, so here again, like I said, sugar can rip the teeth right out of your face. What do you think it does when it goes past your neck? I'm going to say the same thing about too much sodium. If sodium can take a bumper off a car, rust the entire bottom of a chassis of a car, eat up the whole outside of a car, I'm sorry, out of a house to where it has to be repainted or redone or restructured, what do you think sodium does in your body? Why do you think it causes heart disease? Because it gives you high blood pressure, and it's a big catalyst for so many medical problems I can't even tell you. So, and then here's the thing about salt. Whenever you're making food products, I never use garlic salt. I never use onion salt. I use garlic powder and onion powder, and the food tastes dynamite, and I'm not consuming a ton of salt. First of all, I don't have a salt shaker in my house, none. Okay, you don't need, there's enough salt in food as it is, you get plenty. Okay, so buy the powders, don't buy anything that ends in salt. I don't care if it's sea salt, pink salt, Appalachia salt, it's still salt. Okay, it's healthier than the other salts, but it still reacts in the body with high blood pressure and heart disease, so it doesn't matter. So that's all we're going to talk about. The first 5 today. Micah, go ahead and go
You
show
forgot
them.
one thing.
What's that?
If you've ever salted your driveways, everyone will tell you don't put salt on a concrete driveway because it'll cause the concrete to decay and flake up.
Exactly. And so if it's going to do that to a cement driveway, what's going to happen to your internal organs? Now, the last thing I will say about salt is whenever I got people on weight loss programs, a lot of them will get very discouraged because they'll come in, they'll exercise, they'll start eating a lot better, and then they start logging their food, and they don't see the kind of results that they want. Now, Gary, come on, you told me I was going to lose weight if I did. And then I go, okay, well, I noticed you didn't log in on your diary. How much sodium are you using? Oh, well, I salt everything. And I go, well, let me explain something to you. That's why you're discouraged, because salt retains water. It bloats your system. And any human being that's going to lose weight, depending on how much you weigh, obviously if you're 500 pounds, it's different than if you want to lose 4 pounds or something. But the bottom line is it doesn't matter. The first few pounds, or the first, even for overweight people that I deal with, sometimes the first 20 pounds they lose is water weight. And then once you lose the water weight, it then, by your activities and your eating, starts burning your fatty tissue that you don't need. So here's the key. If salt retains water and you're going to lose water weight before you get to the fatty tissue, you're never going to get to the fatty tissue if you're bloating and retaining water, and you're setting yourself up for discouragement. So stay away from the sodium. And if you eat the way I tell you in the book, you will get down to any weight you want. I promise you, I can get anybody into a lean machine if they follow what I tell them. Anybody, everybody.
Yep.
Okay. So
that book is now in the back office. I just added it.
Yay!
And let me add this about sodium and salt before we move on. Gary mentioned all salts are bad, and that is true. If you're healthy and you have your diet under control, sea salt and peak Himalayan salts are probably the only 2 that you'd want to touch, right?
I agree. I agree.
And keeping that in mind, when you go to the restaurant and you pick up, like that says, a salt shaker, table salt is highly toxic. It's man-made salt. It's not good at all. The salt packets, all that kind of stuff, stay away from it with a 10-foot pole. If they have a grinder, and it actually says sea salt on it, only then would I even consider it. But I would not use table salt at all. None. None. It's not good.
Yeah, Crystal Lee says she has pink and she only needs a little bit. It's kind of like she's exactly right. And the other thing is that it's along the same idea of using stevia instead of any other kind of sugar, because stevia is 100% all natural. It comes from a plant, and there's no calories to stevia. Let me repeat that. There is 0 calories to stevia, and it's 300 times sweeter than other sugars. So just like she said about the pink salt, if you want to sweeten something, you can put a little pinch of stevia in and you're home free. And there's no calories to it.
Hey, but on the sugar, plug in Gary's hot chocolate mix. If you're currently drinking sodas and have a problem with a sugar addiction, whatever the sweetener is, high fructose corn syrup, you're eating your dressings, it's probably coming from all over the place, and you're wanting to quit that. These ingredients, especially the hot chocolate mix, is probably the best thing to quit it with because it has fruit sugar in it. So anytime you get a sugar craving, just go in there, make you a great big smoothie or a big glass of hot chocolate, and you'll get that sugar fix. Your body will respond. You'll satisfy that feeling in your body while you're going through those withdrawal symptoms. And we've
Hey,
seen
Micah,
people
Leanne is drinking the hot chocolate right now.
Nice.
And Darylyn says to everybody, love the hot chocolate. That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to
Yes.
hear. Makes me feel good when you say that.
Okay, so let's switch over here and talk about the 4 products that we're going to have released next week. And we'll start with the MSM 16-ounce pump topical gel.
Okay, this gel is so, man, my biochemist and I have over 2,000 testimonials over this product. This product helps rheumatoid arthritis, neuropathy. If you've got your feet are numb, I got a little secret to tell you that at 72, the only thing that kind of bothers me at night, I think, is I wear sandals every day in Arizona where it's dry, is the bottom of my feet sometimes get very painful. It's funny, when I'm moving to Florida, where when I'm in Florida, my feet never hurt because of the moisture and the humidity. But in Arizona, for the last 20 years I've been here, I put this stuff on the bottom of my feet every single night religiously, and I sleep like a baby. That's the way it's got to work. But that's just for blood circulation and a combination of putting the right moisture into the bottom of my feet. But what it does is MSM is a derivative, a sulfur derivative that rejuvenates the cells when it absorbs in your body. That's why you can take it internally or externally, which we'll get into the internal in a minute. But I've got testimonials where there are people, women that couldn't even open up a jar of pickles or a jar of jam. And they said, I used to be able to crochet and knit, and now I can't even open a pickle jar. They bought this MSM gel, and within 45 days, she could open anything, and she's crocheting again, and she's got a good grip. So it works. And like I said, any arthritic situation, it's also good for muscle pain. It's good for, Leanne asked a good question. For somebody with neuropathy, do you recommend the flakes or the gel? Here's my answer to that. You want to start with the gel, because people have different degrees of dissipation and atrophy in their body. Okay, depending on your age, or I don't know how sedentary a person's been. I don't know what their genetics are. I don't know their medical history. Obviously, if I was counseling somebody one-on-one, I would be asking a lot of different medical questions to be able to answer that question a lot better for you, Leanne. But I can tell you that without knowing the person, I would always start with the gel, and that will probably help 75% of all the people that you're dealing with. Now, okay, you're saying they have extreme pain. Is that pain, Leanne, internal, or is it something that they feel with an external situation like lack of grip or in their feet? Start with the gel, just like I do at night. Start with the gel on the bottom of the feet and massage the feet. Where here's what you do: you put it on. You don't rub it in. You rub it on. Real important. Don't ever rub this product in. Rub it on. It'll go right through the pores on its own. Let it dry for 60 seconds. Rub it on again. Not in. And then if you do that over the course of 7 to 10 days, you can let me know, Leanne, if you're getting the great results that most people are getting. Now, to answer your question without knowing the person, if they feel that it gives them a good relief, but they're still feeling some pain, it's probably because they have internal either scar tissue, they've been in an accident, maybe when they were young, they broke their ankle, or they did something. Even the president-elect plays with his dog and he's got a problem with his foot. He's got a boot on now. He'll probably need Purely Soothing in a few weeks. But anyway, the bottom line is what you want to do is use the gel, and then if you see after 7 to 10 days that they may have more of an internal type of pain, that's when you get into the flakes. Because the flakes, people I know that have a lot of scar tissue from accidents, car accidents, athletic accidents, or just normal daily falling in the shower, or when they're younger or when they're older, those people might need the flakes because there's a lot of things going on internally that they may have temporarily damaged or hurt, and that'll help rejuvenate the cells internally to take care of the internal problem. But I'm telling you right now, probably 75% of the people that you're dealing with, we can rectify their situation by this gel as a topical product. Hopefully that answered your question.
And actually, she said flakes and gel. So, I mean, if that's what you want to do as an approach and just go two-pronged at it, I'd say more power to you.
Oh, well, see, but here's the thing. I'm trying to save people money too, where, it's nice to move product, but one thing you're always going to get from me, I'm not here to educate you on purchasing products you don't need. I'm here to start with what I think will work, and then I will tell you if you need the flakes, then we'll add that to your repertoire. But to me, I wouldn't buy the flake right away until you see the disposition you get from the person on the gel first.
So in this here, the price is going to be about $50 retail and about $40 rep price for the 16-ounce pump.
Yeah, it's very effective. It's life-changing. These products are life-changing, and thank God, one of my best friends is the biochemist that makes all these products, and he's retiring, but because of me, he's going to stay at his home and make have all these products manufactured for Purely Soothing, which is my company. And you guys will have all the benefit of getting as much of this stuff as you want for a long, long time, which I'm excited about.
So, hey, real quick, let's do this. Darlene asked a question, but we're going to jump to that product in a minute. Let me just pull up here. The
What was
other
her question?
product that's going to release next week will be a 2-ounce version of the same thing we were just talking about, the exact same gel and a 2-ounce travel.
Yeah, I call that the travel size. That can go in your purse. It can go in a coat pocket. It can even go in a man's blue jean pocket or whatever. And it's good to have to put on, when you're out and you're feeling a pain on your shoulder, or you have a lower back pain, or whatever you have, you can rub this on and it'll alleviate what pain you have right then.
So the price on this is going to be, when I say about, it's because you have customer price. We got to figure out some margins there and stuff. But it'll be about $14 retail and about $11 rep price for the 2-ounce version. So, and Darlene was asking about the flakes. I'm going to go ahead and pull the flakes up. We can talk about it.
Okay.
Her question was, do you drink it or?
Yeah. Well, it's a flake, so if you drink it without liquid, I'll have to come and do a Heimlich maneuver on you. But anyway, let me tell you what it is.
No, do you
It's
soak in it or drink it? Because there
yeah,
are some
yeah,
flakes
no,
out there
no,
like that.
no, I'm being funny. I'm being funny.
Okay.
I know it's not that funny, but I'm being funny anyway. Anyway, it's a flake, and what you do, there's a scoop that comes in the jar, and you take one scoop and one scoop only, and you put it in an 8-ounce glass of water, and you stir it up and you drink it, and you do that in the morning. Only one a day when you start. Okay, that after a week should alleviate a lot of internal pain. If it doesn't, that means that there's a lot more going on internally. Then they build up after 7 to 10 days where they can do one scoop in a glass of 8-ounce water, do it once in the morning and once right before you go to bed. That should solve probably 60 to 70% of the people that have internal issues. To let you know, the guy that made this product, the reason why he made it, he's a genius, but unfortunately he went through a car accident where a steering wheel went through his chest, and he's got huge scars internally and externally. And they said he wasn't going to be able to walk and this and that. He's built up to where he has to do 8 glasses a day. God love him. But guess what? He's in no pain. As long as he keeps the 8 glasses, but he built up this immunity over years. But he does 8 glasses a day, and he has no pain, 0 pain. And yet the doctor said he wasn't even going to be able to walk.
Wow.
So I'm just telling you that most people aren't going to be in a car accident where a steering wheel goes through their chest. Okay. So somebody that has an internal issue, and here's what you can warn them on. Okay. When they put the scoop in the flake, it's a little bit bitter, but I've had it a few times when I've had stomach issues. I'll put a scoop in and take it in the morning, and I feel dynamite by the afternoon. But it's a little bitter. When I say a little bitter, it's not like a lousy cup of coffee. It's just a real little slight aftertaste that anybody can deal with. It's not a problem, and it still tastes better than Flint water.
So the price on this, it's a 1 pound container, 16 ounces, 1 pound. It's $31 retail and about $25 rep price.
Which is good. Now,
Really
I got
good.
a question saying, can you add it to the hot chocolate? Yeah, you probably could. It'll be it'll make it taste like the chocolate that I didn't want you to get. The reason why I sent you the new chocolate, but it'll probably taste like the old chocolate. Anyway, you can do it. It's not a problem. Now, someone said I hate the taste of bitter and blah. So that's when you get these caps. You can get the capsules. The capsules you just pop in your mouth, drink the water, it goes down. You don't taste anything. Okay, so that's.
Tell us the
so
difference, Gary. What's the difference health-wise, performance-wise, from taking flakes?
Okay,
capsules?
very good question. Very good question. To me, if I'm going to give an honest answer from studying all this for a long time, the capsule is for people that don't like messing around with the taste, and they have a busy schedule, and it'll probably be about maybe 80% as effective as the flake, because the flake is a little more concentrated. Okay, you're getting more of the MSM with a scoop of the flakes than you are with a capsule, but they both do the same thing.
And probably too, if I had to guess, because I know from using anything that's encapsulated, it's time release. It gets in your stomach, it dissolves, and it's pure GI absorption in your GI tract, versus the flake. It's likely you'll start absorbing that in the tissue, your mouth and your esophagus and stuff as it goes down, right?
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. That so you know what? you're probably making the percentage instead of, maybe it's up to 85% because you probably get more absorption from the capsule than you do when you first consume the flake. But you know, I guess for me, the flake, because I taste that bitter taste and I know it's going right in my bloodstream, it just gives me a feeling more of self-empowerment. But you're probably right. The capsule, because it doesn't dissolve until it gets into your intestines, you're probably right. You get a great absorbent rate.
So this is 350 capsules, 1,000 milligrams. The price retail will be about $44. Rep price about $35.
That's great.
Yep. And that's our 4 products. And actually, we're right at about the hour mark, Gary. So why don't we wrap it up?
Okay.
We'll plan on coming back next week to cover.
Unless anybody, today I was very inspired by all the questions and the remarks. And so if you ever have questions, I don't end any meeting if there's people that still have any questions whatsoever. So if anybody has a question, you can ask it now. Would the flakes be safe for dogs? You know what? I know that I have a couple people that have given it to the dogs and they were fine, but I don't want to give a blanket statement with that. Let me, next meeting, I'll answer that question way more professional, because I don't want to give you I mean, just because 2 dogs found it to work, I want to make sure it's good for all dogs. So I'll answer that question on our next meeting. Okay. So let me just reiterate one thing, Micah, and we'll let everybody go. Everybody read my book. Whoever comes up with the best book report, I'm going to be the little college professor, and I'm going to grade them. Whoever has the best book report, I'm going to send them free products. So we'll see who's the best reader and who comes up with the best book report. But if that's what I got to do to get people to read my book so they can see that I actually know what I'm talking about, I'm going to give out free product.
Do I qualify for that? Can I get in?
No, you've already read it. Screw you. You don't get it.
I'm good at writing too. That's like, I'm going to come up with a really good report.
Yeah, I know you. Well, you know, it's funny. I've been impressed with how you've evolved, where you can give these meetings almost better than me now because you've read my book and you've done more research. And so I'm kind of jealous of how smart you're getting. So I don't want to give you anything.
I've lived it too. I've lived it. This is how I got healthy.
No,
I feel better than I ever have.
No,
I look better than I have in a long
No,
time.
I know. Even Troy is jealous of the way you look. I think that you're going to be the motivator for Troy. I mean, he's read the book, but now he's got to act on it. And I think the way he's going to act on it is he has to look at you every week and see how much better looking you are than him. Okay, because you did it. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, he's a good-looking guy, but boy, is he gonna look good when he loses the weight? I'm telling you, he's gonna be lean and mean. I'm telling you. Yeah. But anyway, I might even give Troy the challenge to see if he wants to win the free. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, we're not giving it to Troy, but I'm excited about and even people that aren't on this podcast, when you read it because it's recorded, you still I probably shouldn't entitle you to get the free stuff because you weren't on, but I'll do it anyway. That whoever reads this podcast and comes up with the best book report, I'm sending you some free product. But read the book, and I want to spend some time next week with feedback from everybody telling me what they got out of it, so that way we can have a fun meeting next week.
The book is in your back office, virtual office. You log in, you'll see it there. We'll also put it in the email. This recording, as usual, every week will be in your back office within an hour or so. We'll email it to you again in the morning so you have it. And we're going to return next week to cover 6 through 10 on the top 10 list, dig into those ingredients.
And sell the products. And we'll have all those products available.
All those products should be on the website, hopefully a couple of days before then. Maybe you've already put your orders in, but we'll talk more about them.
All righty, everybody have a great night, and I'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, Gary.
Take care.